It's hard to overstate just how significant this is. The New York Times is reporting that FBI investigators had to grapple with this question: whether President Trump's actions surrounding the firing of FBI Director James Comey constituted anti-American activity and a possible threat to national security. This morning, a bombshell report by the New York Times reveals that law enforcement officials grew so alarmed by President Trump's behavior in the days after he fired FBI Director James Comey that they began investigating whether he was secretly working on behalf of Russia. According to the Times, FBI officials became suspicious of Mr. Trump's ties to Russia during the 2016 campaign, but held off on launching an investigation.
They knew that the decision to either open an investigation into a candidate or into a president himself, Trump, would have been an enormous deal, and that they needed to meet a particular threshold to do that.
The Times reports that two events left FBI officials so unsettled and unnerved they took the unprecedented step of launching a counterintelligence probe into the president. First, the president's plan to send a letter to James Comey about his firing, but never did, in which Mr. Trump explicitly mentioned the Russia investigation. The second, the president's interview with Lester, in which he appeared to say he fired Comey because of the Russia probe.
Knowing there was no good time to do it. And in fact, when I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
The president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, pushing back, telling NBC News that if the FBI investigation obtained any evidence, it would have to have resulted in some action being taken, or they are imperiling our national security. This shows how out of control they are. And White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, in a statement to NBC, calling the report absurd.
And Geoff, a lot of people want to know what this means for the Russia investigation. We've increasingly seen President Trump lashing out at special counsel Robert Mueller. So where do things stand right now between the president and Bob Mueller?
Well, Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal attorney, tells NBC that President Trump will not answer any more questions from the special counsel. So it appears the written answers the president submitted to the Mueller team back in November regarding the Russia investigation will have to suffice. And we should say the Times reports that Mueller took over the investigation into whether Mr. Trump is a Russian asset. The Times says it's unclear whether the special counsel is still pursuing it.